Okay. Hello. Welcome back. I think this will be the actual official uh, stream recording, like VOD. So I am Mini Cooper 647, and this is C3 casting with me. We bring you the Week 3 match of the Todd Squad, or just Todd Squad, versus Team Logitech. Big marquee match, and not, no pun intended. It'll be a match that has a lot of playoff implications, and it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Two of what many consider the two of the strongest teams in the league, and so a lot riding on this. And especially after Team Logitech dropped one game, the game 2 of last week versus Penny Traders. They're coming out here looking to prove something. So we'll see how it goes. Any opening remarks, C3? I don't know what to tell you, dude. I'm just glad it's working. I think it's worth trying. In the yeah. I'm checking it right now. Thank you for joining us, folks. Having technical difficulties as to getting C3 in here, but I think he should be able to include his audio in just a moment. There you go. Good job unchecking boxes and stuff. So right off the bat, we have a mic cover and a Wrath band from Team 1 and a Phoebe band from Team 2. And we'll probably see Team Logitech ban Gal, but they might have to ban Galvin because I don't think they want to play into it. But we'll see, because we know coming into this week, we've heard a lot of intel that they're looking to try to take Sea-Dog off of his comfort picks of Phoebe and Gal. So, and we also have a DC from Dr. Ho-Ho, but I'm assuming they'll just draw out the picks and bans. Give him a chance to get back in. Shouldn't be a problem.
Go for the healer ban, that's interesting.
And it's even more interesting that it's Alani, because while they do have, Manly and Mozzie and even Styx, who are all really good Alanis, you usually, think that Miko would be the more, the healer that's banned the most often, so. By chance, do you have the Twitch chat up so you can keep up with that? I'll bring it up on my phone in just a second, but actually taking care of something. And we see them ban the Phoebe Gal, and we're gonna see a Kelvin right off the bat.
Yeah, it seems like we're off going after target picks for sure.
We see them ban. We're also seeing Pendles hovered. I'm assuming that's trolling. Also Dion the hover. Also most likely trolling. They might just be taunting Team Logitech because when Team Logitech lost their one game they've lost, they had a Deondi on their team, and they attribute a lot of their loss to that. Don't like playing around the character, which I can see the thought process behind. We have viewers joining us by the 30-second periodically. I think that's when it updates. But 15 viewers now, and hopefully more to join in. We're assuming that there's going to be a good turnout for this match. Like I said, there's a lot riding on it between the Todd squad and the so-called God squad. So we see the Galt Monty taken, so that leaves Miko being the best healer left on the board, and also goes fantastically with the Kelvin.
Yeah.
Here
Which of the DPS do you think they take?
I mean, Oscar. So I would say Oscar Miko here, most likely, because they can pair any other frontliner with the Kelvin. And they might be looking for some kind of diver for the late game.
I think Oscar's just a strong takeaway here. I like Thorn. Just if they pick up Oscar, that's a lot of shooters for Kelvin to deal with.
Yeah, that's kind of my thought. Is that like Thorn does less to Kelvin, just because Kelvin's
sustained damage.
Yeah, for sure. But I don't know. I guess it's kind of what you favor into the Kelvin, what you're going to build the rest of the comp around, and I think with the Kelvin, I actually do prefer Thorn to Oscar, just because like you can burst someone so quick with that, stun duration of his ult plus his sub, and it's so easy to follow up from far away. So you can just ping the target and they just die.
I wonder if they're still highlighting Deondi as a troll or if they're serious, because I think Deondi does put an interesting pressure on the front if you have her ult going off in the back and then Kelvin coming through the front. Yeah,
and if people are having to use CCs on Kelvin to secure that pick, then Deondi is going to have a lot of freedom. So I could definitely see the argument behind it.
New kid on the block makes it in the game.
So I really like Atticus into Kelvin because Kelvin's a very regen-based tank, and he's also got a Miko on his team already. And the AoE wounds that Atticus can bring, the AoE silence, like Atticus can silence the Kelvin out of sublimate while once he's already initiated the full sublimate. The Atticus will often get stunned because he's landing on the sublimating Kelvin. But situationally, you can actually do it since they buffed the AoE on base pounce on Atticus, but it does reduce damage out towards the outer rim. The silence is still the same across the whole AoE, and so you can silence Kelvin without actually getting stunned if you land right beside him. And we do know Ho-Ho's a real good Atticus, so should perform well on it.
They got CC, they got damage. See how the team's looking pretty strong.
Yeah, I mean, objectively, when I'm just looking at the draft, I'm thinking that Todd Squad's draft is much easier to execute. They scale fantastically throughout the game. Their early game is solid because they have the better early game healer. So they're going to take mid for free at level 1. They have great pick potential because Boulder can be in the backline doing whatever he wants while Kelvin, does Kelvin things. And then you have double nukes, so anytime anybody's stunned for longer than a second, which, they're going to die.
Yeah.
And then, if it makes it to late game, Team Logitech has the Atticus, but then they also have the Galt. And Oscar can't go understated here. It is Oscar Monty Galt. They have plenty of damage to burst, and just destroy the Kelvin, make him completely useless. They have the wounds. But it's going to be a high level of execution from Team Logitech, which, you know, they've shown on countless occasions that they can do, but, you know, can they do it again? Has the Todd squad prepped enough? You know, preliminary.
Unless he's running extra
Yeah,
1,000 max
the Kid
health.
Ultra, yeah. Yeah, I'm betting the Kid Ultra is probably like full tank loadout, potentially.
Yeah. There's no reason not to be, honestly.
Let's see here. Got
Like, in the stream,
multiple
only see
free
my camera
reloads.
or your camera.
I'm sorry? Well, I have the scoreboard up right now.
Stream.
Oh, the stream's on my camera. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Perfect.
I probably should have turned on my sensitivity before this, but I'll do it for the next match if
Maybe I can
the
just-
chat requests.
Maybe I can just follow all kind of crazy stuff in.
So we'll
Exactly.
probably
That'd
definitely
fun
be
with
seeing definitely. We'll be seeing Todd squad take mid most likely because they have Boulder and Kelvin with a Miko behind them, versus just a Monty Atticus front line. Although Boulder's got to be careful about taking too much poke, because if he gets hooked, he's gonna get bursted in the early game. Miko can't get to him. Stuns Atticus, potentially out of the pounce. I'm not sure if Atticus tried to pounce for the silence on the Boulder. But Kelvin gets picked
They
real
really
quick.
picked what they need
He
to
just
do.
got bursted out. And
See, that was
Boulder
really
does
cute.
not get
I
hooked
almost
back.
caught you down.
We are seeing Floater on Galt, I believe, for the first time this season. Can't imagine they've gotten Galt before, but I've not done my research on that. Immediately we see Manly on perch. Probably just took out the Thumper, presumably. Also, apologies for the
Thumper's still
camera. We'll get better throughout the match. Yeah, haven't done it in a little while. So, try to get some practice in intense, but we'll see how it goes. Interesting to see Team Logitech already taking mid with just the level 1 Kid Ultra heals. You know, not much sustain there as comparison to the Miko. But I guess Kelvin can't be out in the open long, or he's just going to be taking all kinds of damage. Boulder comes out and stuns Galt. Takes some nice damage from Thorn. He'll be poked out. Might even need it back unless Kid gets
he's full
level
health.
2 real soon here. Now Galt. Galt's at about
499.
250, 499.
564 now. Yeah, a little bit.
And he just leveled up as well. Oh yeah, I'm trolling. Wasn't looking at how many blocks. Trying to estimate by percentage. Boulder's moving out, trying to make a play, trying to make some space for his team. Oof, God.
They're following up. Spaghetti's coming. I'm watching the Kelvin.
Boulder is taking a lot of poke though. Miko made it to him, but Miko might get caught out here.
Holding the stun. Holding the stun.
Yeah, Atticus
Stun
is
will
on
come out
Miko,
right
and
now,
he
right
ate
now.
a Oscar Mike grenade as well. Miko's wounded. Miko goes. Kelvin also goes. Boulder does get the trade kill there though on the Atticus.
2 for 2.
Got a lot of trade kills here.
Nope.
Wow. I don't even know how to cast that. That was a lot happened quickly there, but we saw a 5 for 2 trade, 4 for 2 trade.
Yeah.
I think it might have been 4 for 3. No, I guess just Atticus went. Wow. Okay, that was just 4
Yeah,
for 1, I believe.
1 for 4.
I could have sworn there was another
Quite
pick
a
there,
few
but
of them.
yeah. Galt putting out buttloads of damage in the team fights. There's a lot of big crits on the side. Monty Dash misses on the Boulder. Kelvin does go in and does not have sub to escape now. Could get punished here. Monty goes first.
Monty's out though.
And we'll see. Kelvin does get out. Boulder staying up on the front line though with the Urendi.
Yeah.
Slowed by a trap. He's going to take a lot. Atticus either pounces on the minions or misjudges the pounce on the Boulder.
He's trying to catch Boulder in.
The nice value pillar there, taking out the drones and getting some damage on some Battleborn. Todd squad Thrall getting knocked up first. Team Logitech's Thrall also gets its knock. Both Thralls go down, only clearing a few of the minions. I believe.
We'll see that come on the corner.
Todd
right
squad
there.
actually doesn't have
Yeah,
much for their
two
wave.
health bars, two low health bars on big tanks. And
Immediately, Manly comes up on the window trying to
and
finish the Kelvin. Kelvin has
Yeah.
to sub out defensively. Having to give up a lot of space here is the Todd squad. And Team Logitech immediately
He's gonna get
gets
some
on the
damage
sentry.
in with big health bars.
And they got a pretty healthy wave here.
Look at
Shepard
that crit focus.
still got another minion going into siege form right now. Galt gets a hook on Arendi, but she has Nullify.
Stun on.
Missed on Monty, but he just runs out the backside.
Yeah, good.
No cost there, really.
Good low rook stun. Yeah. Look at that, just tearing.
And they're just keeping the damage up. Another minion wave's rolling in, even with the Arendi Thorn. They're just under so much pressure, they have no real front line because Kelvin Boulder can't be out there right now with the Galt. If Galt's on point.
Yeah, that was the only reason I said they should have took the Oscar over the Thorn. Is that you have just constant shooters gonna hit your big buddies.
Yeah, the DPS is
And even
hard
as
to
Boulder,
weather.
if you're just trying to hit stuff, it's really easy to hit you in the face. I know just a little bit about Oscar.
The Galt hook out. See if Todd squad tries to make a play here. Still relatively low levels across the board.
No minions. Yeah, they're following the classic golf formula, winning the first 15 minutes.
Sea Dog also DC'd. Oh, I didn't see exactly when that happened. He is back now though.
Get to rights. Sorry, are you tied up with something?
Galt looking for a hook. Pulls in the Kelvin real short range. Nothing expended really except for the Galt hook. I guess going on the back line, maybe they'll get a Kelvin pick here while they're focused on that. Galt hook does not pull Kelvin out of sub. That would have been really big. And we do have Boulder already back on the front line. Oof, Boulder just gets burned through the shield. You see Team Logitech do that really well. If they have a lot of shooters, they will focus the target down.
Good dodge, Steve. Good dodge.
That was a great burst propulsion dodge. But Kelvin paid for it just trying to body block for a second.
He's trying to peel, yeah.
Yeah, just trying to peel, but I mean, it wasn't necessary. Thorn made the great escape. The idea was there, but Galt gets a great hook on Arendi. She just gets deleted.
Yeah.
Floater on point with the shots. See Team Logitech already getting a few points on Sentry and trying to keep the pressure up with some Galt hooks. Monty gets a nice
on the Miko this
stun
time.
follow-up.
Makes a better choice. Yep.
Yeah, Atticus does make a better choice here
man,
getting onto the Miko, but he's going to get punished there.
Maybe.
I think he overextended.
Yeah.
Good pick by Todd squad. Unfortunately, that goes on to the Miko, but you know, a pick's a pick.
Stop the pressure they have on the Sentry though.
Yeah, Sentry shield is still down. Oscar's keeping that poke up in between, focusing whoever's in the CC chain. The floaters, Oscar Mike just tearing into the Sentry. Working on that back legs. Just took some damage. Ooh, Boulder tried to make a play and almost gets picked. Miko's on him though.
Like
Miko's Biosynth ticking right now.
That's good spacing right there. That's excellent spacing from them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boulder knew his limits there. That was really well played. Good bait.
We just
around
winding out to
creating
see
some
why they
space.
banned the PD.
Randy gets hooked in. She does not have Nullify.
Yelling.
Oh, lives with
Makes
nothing.
out the quarter, uses the shield recharge just to make it healthy enough.
Boulder gets a nice stun on Kid. See if there's any follow-up. Nope, Kid gets a drone out. Just buying some space there.
Making space. Yeah, that's all they need to do at this point. At this point, they need to level up because they're behind. No, they're on par. 4-2-4.
Boulder continuing to make space, making sure they get some shards up. Yeah, keeping up in levels across the board. The important ones, Thorn, Miko, and Arendi staying up. You need the Kelvin to get some XP though. He's been getting picked a lot, but I mean that's to be expected of Kelvin in the early game against this many shooters. Atticus and Galt in window right now. I don't know if that's the best place to have the Galt. I guess just trying to get some preliminary wave clear out. He's moving around the lane now. Boulder's face tanking the elite bot, making sure it doesn't damage anyone else. Kelvin gets a nice 3-man stun, but it's real difficult for their team to follow up on that until they have ults. Boulder restuns the Monty, still taking no poke damage though. Like that's where the Oscar would have paid dividends though, is burning that Monty in the Galt. Devo's getting chased down by Galt. Gets hooked back. See if he can outplay this.
May make it out.
Yeah, he should make it out.
Yeah.
Kelvin stuns just to make sure.
Yeah.
But that's Kelvin sublimate down, and Team Logitech knows that. Atticus is low though.
Oh,
Thorn is as well. Thorn gets way too far up. Gets greedy, it looked like, to be honest. Atticus isn't on Miko. Won't be able to get the pick. Probably will go down here. But Floater gets Kelvin in return. And Atticus makes it out.
Yep.
Manly's looking for the Miko. Goes in with stealth, sneak attack. Misses everything. Actually, I don't think he has sneak attack. Looks like he took impact, but nonetheless, tried to make a sneak attack.
Regular impact trigger. Yeah.
He does have impact trigger. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I saw it happen, and then he missed it on Miko. Yeah. If he had hit Miko with that, he would have 100% died.
Look at that free poke. Kelvin can't even look out.
Yeah. You see Dr. Ho-Ho on the Atticus getting a thrall. Boulder gets a nice stun on the Kid Ultra. Gets double stun. Hasn't taken any damage yet, though.
Nice.
Yeah, Kid Ultra didn't take any damage during the first stun, and really not much until the latter second of the Kelvin stun. Thorn gets picked as well. Oscar putting out buttloads of damage right now.
I lost Boulder as well.
Yeah, I believe he was just trying to retreat and got caught out as well.
No, he got caught. He got caught on the restun.
Oh, okay. When Monty double stunned, yeah. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, he got caught in that play and into the Oscar ult.
Ooh, you see Gald hook out, go out towards Kelvin and miss.
Willard a little early. Didn't catch him.
Willard, yeah, just a tiny bit out of range. But shouldn't matter too much. They have a lot of wave clear, but another single throw coming in here from the Atticus.
Panic mode with the being this close to their second
Atticus
century. No
standing with this charge hook up. Merendi is also 5, first to 5 on Todd squad. Boulder might try to make some space here. Looks like he's inching out. He's walking out now. Boulder gets a knockback on the kid. Nope. Oh, Boulder's going to get picked there. Trying to make some space, but I don't know if it's the right play. And Kelvin sublimate's already out.
They try to go straight for
got low health bar on Miko. He's going to run out the back. The Randy ult looks like it goes out on Atticus, make no damage because he moved the camera too much. See Todd squad just hanging out on those Kid Ultra drones, just getting that poke.
Evo is 5 now. He makes the ultimate go on the next.
Boulder gets hooked out into the open, dies to Galt before he even gets his shield up. Ooh, that hurts.
They may just dive it here.
It's at the threshold they can at this point. Atticus is still only level 4, but gets stunned by Kelvin, restunned by Miko. Kelvin gets picked for it though. Wow. Atticus might go here. Got a little greedy. Good stun by Boulder. Good pick. I don't think it'll make a difference though. It's a little bit too late. That's why the Atticus was there. That'll do it for it. Team Logitech taking game 1. They were team 2 that game, so we'll see if Todd squad might want to switch it up and go team 2 this time. Because we're pretty sure Team Logitech is just going to ban Gal Phoebe against him every time. Because I mean, I don't think Sea-Dog being on Boulder was the problem, but it's just that he's so exceptional at those 2 characters that he's able to draw a free ban on both of them. But it's what you get out of that. You know, they get the Kelvin, and they weren't able to survive until the promised land of Kelvin level 6. So, that extended sublimate duration can change team fights, and Kelvin ult. But if he doesn't make it there, then the pick kind of flounders. I think they got outgunned. Couldn't stay in lane enough to get XP and stayed constantly poked down. I think Team Logitech was getting damage on the second sentry at I believe 6 minutes in. And it looks like we just got a roster change. I'm currently stuck at the loading screen, so it'll be a surprise who it is. I'm assuming it's from Team Logitech, potentially subbing in Welch's for Dr. Ho-Ho. We do know they like to do that. Builds seem to be pretty standard across the board. Arachnus running skill damage after taking shield damage and not getting the piece up. I mean, I'm fine with it. Honestly, I prefer just having more survivability so you can afford to stay out there, but that's kind of a nitpick. Beyond that, we do see overall Team Logitech running more max health across the board. With the exception of Galt, Floyder running his classic Galt build with movement speed secondaries. Just because Galt's so slow, and if you're able to be in the right spot at the right time every time, then it doesn't matter if you're, dying. But he doesn't die because he has good positioning, and he ekes out a lot of damage out of that Galt in team fights. Doesn't show in the damage charts, but really shows in game when he's melting people's faces. Sentry damage, Monty and Oscar split it pretty much evenly. Only split by about 47 damage, so pretty dead on there. What you might expect. Atticus a little under leveled, kind of to be expected. He was kind of just jumping in there as the sacrificial lamb a lot of times, but it worked. All in all, good first game. Excited to see the second one. Let's see what changes the Todd squad makes. They can probably anticipate what the bans will be here, so whether the team 1 or team 2. So will they, try to get the Kelvin again and just say, it was just execution, or will they potentially ban out the Kelvin themselves, or go team 2 and ban the Kelvin as is traditional? All that and more coming soon. What do you think adjustments they might make, or that they should make from Todd squad side, C3?
Honestly, I think they need a reevaluation of what's important to them team-wise, and also Spaghetti highly values the Kelvin pick. Like I said, when you're playing into 3 shooters like that, there's just absolutely no instance where you can be out in lane and not just getting poked and eventually killed. C-Dog's really aggressive in the front, so unless you have somebody you can make it out there and still have health bars with, it does no good to follow up his kind of, not random plays, but his aggressive play style. He likes to flank, he likes to jump out a window.
And Team Logitech's so good at even a character like Boulder, like managing to get them poked out from multiple directions, and so he's always like half health or lower before he's able to even start to make the play. So, and it wasn't Ho-Ho that was swapped out for Welch's, it was Mozzie. Yeah. So might be looking to take the Boulder themselves this time and knock C-Dog even further down on his tier list. I'd really like to see Marquis from C-Dog. I think it goes against their team dynamic a little bit. Like, C-Dog's great at making call-outs, creating space, playing those frontline characters, but he's especially great at that on Gal and Phoebe. So when he's not at that, they have Spaghetti, Arachnus, and Tom, and even Steve Oak, all can play frontliners, all can make great call-outs. Potentially just put C-Dog on the Marquee and let somebody else frontline with.
Watch. I think they take Oscar Mike this time. I still think they may take Thorn again.
Are they going to run it back? Just say it was completely execution?
They shouldn't play into double shooters like that. Nah.
I think they take the Oscar here. Same exact bands, though. They're confident. Like, they might do it. They're confident it was just the draft. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, not the draft. They're confident that it was just execution. They think that the draft was
Welch
fine.
replaced his knee. And they put Welch on the Atticus instead of Voho. Because Mozzie was playing Kid Ultra, right?
I don't think Ho-Ho is going to be on the Kid Ultra, though. So I think it'll stay the same. The only thing that might switch is Welch is on the Oscar. No, actually, I don't think it'll switch. I think it'll just be Welch's for Mozzie, and Welch's will be on the Kid Ultra, therefore.
That whole season with Welch, I never seen him play Kid Ultra. This is a new development to me.
I mean, I'm feeling the same way, but the only other one he could play the Atticus, but I mean, I don't know Ho-Ho that well.
I mean, honestly,
I only know him for playing brawlers.
It doesn't really matter. You just have to protect yourself, but
do they
put down
potentially go
joint,
no
protect yourself,
healer, or
RT
just
down
say they
lane.
didn't? No, I mean they needed the Kid Ultra. Like that kept their push
Yeah.
sustained. They took
No,
a
you
lot
need
of poke
to-
themselves.
Yeah.
And then when his ult came online,
The
that
early game
was
was pretty.
real clutch.
The early game was pretty even, except for that one bad play. But I mean, it easily could have went the other way with just a little bit of focus on different characters. Like we see that Atticus poured out in the middle for free, and he was standing literally right next to Sea-Dog on the right. Sea-Dog was just getting poked, and he had to back out.
Yeah, I think we'll see Todd squad being a bit more in sync this time. Hopefully, I think there was a lot of split call outs.
Yeah.
So.
See, they're replacing the Arendi with.
Oh,
No,
they're not. They're running it back. They were confident. I like it. I don't think I've ever seen this in league play. Literally like a direct run back. Yeah, I missed that Mozzie, but apparently Mozzie said he got stunned at one point for 6 seconds and survived.
That was the play you call where he took no damage for the first time and just took the Arendi ult for the second.
Oh yeah, it was okay. Okay, yeah, he was stunned for 6. Yeah, I didn't realize how many stuns it hit him, but yeah.
Oh yeah, 2 or 3. Is it 3? I think it was 2.
He must have. Well, I mean, for it to be 6 seconds, that would be Kelvin ult,
Yeah.
Kelvin sub, and Monty stun. Or not Monty. That was Boulder stun. Or Miko stun. Or it was Miko Boulder
Miko
and
got
then
one in his
Sublimate.
Jeez.
I don't know. I can't. Yeah, he said, yeah, Miko stun. Yeah, Boulder and then Kelvin and then Miko. And he survived it. I think a lot of times one like criticism I have of the Kelvin that might have been the deal, like difference maker in a lot of those fights, is rather than trying to sub multiple targets and not have enough time to get damage out, maybe just as soon as you sub 2, like, the frontliner and the target, potentially, whatever it may be, like pop out a sub and immediately get a chomp on the healthiest person, like max health wise. I just think Kelvin can get more damage out in those bursty team fights, but it is hard because as soon as you come out of sub, you're going to get focused super hard by all the shooters. So
Yeah.
interesting to see how it plays out.
Contrary to their regular team play, I think they should kind of play to the late game and just use double stun to heal on pools.
Exactly. They want to be proactive,
get
but they
levels.
really need to play passive and just turtle. I think they outscale besides the Atticus. I mean, it's still really up to a question because, I mean, the Galt still scales like pretty linearly throughout the match. So he'll be good no matter what. And then, the one thing I do think that they have going for them is that the Arendi Thorn, as long as they focus the same target, they can usually blow up a target. But with Atticus and Monty being such, so much health and shields to break through, might be a bit difficult if they're not choosing the right targets. But if it's on Oscar or Kid, even the Galt, depending on if he's taking any pre-poke, they should be able to blow up targets. Galt getting stunned on Kelvin in the lane. Kelvin gets stunned by Monty. Does get his sub off though. I believe Boulder stunned that Atticus. I don't think the Kelvin sub hit him.
Sounds like Spaghetti's hearing us because he's playing a little more passive. They didn't try to do anything crazy. He just stayed his time to live.
Yeah. He was lucky though. I mean, there's definitely a chance he could have gone as well. Back up a little bit more, try to get a angle of.
That's the odd you
Well,
want. That's the odd you want to play though. You want to play the odd of getting stunned in your own pit, and you're able to save stun to get out. Chances
Oh, for sure.
Chances they're able to kill you that close is super slim.
I think if he had been able to stun. Oh wow, Galt stunning. I mean, hooking the one from real far out. Yeah, Kelvin had been able to stun the Atticus first, and then because Boulder was purely stunning to peel for the Atticus, like peel the Atticus off the Kelvin. But potentially he trusts that the Kelvin's going to get his sub off, subs the Atticus, and then stuns the Atticus again. That Atticus could have gone there. But there's some tight margins. A lot of trust.
Yeah.
Manly immediately going up to take out the Thumper. Lands the impact grenade, finishes it off. Real easy. See if Todd Squad takes your advice and stays back a bit more. I mean, Galt's walking into the choke point to hook Kelvin around the corner. So, for one, I'd say Kelvin needs
really
to
good
make
for
sure
them
he's
if they play
not
through.
right there just waiting predictably for the minions. Like, because that's where you want to be for Kelvin to get the chomps as the minions come around the corner. But with Galt, knowing Galt's doing that, like, maybe be able to, like, have the
It's really
Boulder in
good for them 'cause
position
if they
to
can-
zone that.
Yeah, if they can condition Galt to step up for those hooks, and then Boulder just comes from behind and pushes them all the way in. It's easy play there.
Exactly. Yeah.
Since your shields are down though.
I think you used a good way to describe that. Condition them, because, like, you know, Floater thinks he's, you know, learning their tendencies, and they can use that to their advantage. Force him to
That's a
react.
nice side warrior. It's not a shepherd, but it's got a lot of beef to it. Maybe able to do something here. Oh, they're all already down. That's the problem. They just have a lot of shooters and a lot of crit-based characters, so big waves don't really mean a whole lot to their team.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and really, big waves don't mean much to either team. It's just that since Team Logitech is on their front foot, they can get poke on the sentry this whole time, and they do a really good job of that. You see Floater, anytime he doesn't need to be threatening the hook, or there's not a wave in lane, up on the window poking, even as Galt. As the game goes on, we'll see Manly doing the same thing. Because it's really hard for Todd Squad to collapse on window with their comp. Like, you see them try to do it here, but there's just so much time to react. The enemy can see through the window, know that you're going there, see you leaving lane. And then you're also giving up lane pressure, what little lane pressure you have, because minions are walking in because your DPS decided to leave lane. And your DPSs can't
like I said,
poke out into lane and try to get damage on the minions ahead of time on the choke, because Galt's threatening hook. So you really need a Rendy to get a bit more aggressive, I think, and try to get these waves down earlier. At least get the first pillar on them as they're crossing the shock, like right where they are right now. And then being ready to nullify to outplay the hook. Whether it means getting hooked and nullifying if you trust it, or... because it is Monty, so you have a good amount of time to react. But conversely, you just dodge the hook with the nullify, which I think is what you want to be aiming to do. But then once hook's down, your Boulder can look to go in, make a play, make the play we're talking about, where he can go around, because they think they're getting a pick on the Urendi, and then kill themselves for the easy alley.
I mean, they're playing it better than last game. At this game, they're already at this point in this game, they're already at second century last game.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
100 to 100
I think Todd Squad's.
Game, so can't really fault them for that.
I think after the last game, they just, beat themselves up a little bit about not being patient enough, and they, told themselves we can win with this comp. We just need to be more patient. Don't go for crazy stuff in the early game. We don't need to snowball.
The longer team fights, the longer team fights get easier for you.
because Galt becomes harder and harder to execute upon in the mid to late game as Miko can save people from, more and more amounts of threat. The wrench in that gear is the Atticus, but
the late game is who do you pull at that point? You pull Boulder into stun, you pull Kelvin into stun. Those are the two targets you're going to be seeing all the time.
and they're not going to die at that point in the game. Right now, they'll die, and that's why in the last game, as long as Team Logitech could stay ahead and in kills and XP, it worked. But if the Boulder and Kelvin can get through the early game, see Kelvin using sub super early for the defensive sub, making sure he's not dying. They're playing super safe.
Yep.
They're like, look, we can zone off the poke. They don't have huge poke until mid to late game. Control the minion waves and just peel for each other. And we can outplay the team fights. Speaking of which, Atticus might... Oh, no, there's really no cooldowns left, though. Boulder and Kelvin both had used their stuns defensively. But, I mean, that's what they want, really. All CCs on both sides are down, and, no picks. Boulder just dashing away the Galt to peel. Yep. I mean, they're playing it exactly how they want to. And we can afford to take a tiny...
With still having first entry, I think they have a better shot at it.
Yeah, because the first entry will give a lot of XP to Team Logitech and a lot of ground. But if Todd Squad can stay on track with this, keep the poke to a minimum, and get a pick or two potentially, especially once Thorn and Arendi have 4s and 5s online. They, oh, I'm so sorry. I keep fucking backing into walls. I'm actually trolling.
I see you, Red Brick. I move my mic closer. Hopefully that helps.
Boulder making it out safely. No real threat, but the siege is staying up. Galt not letting the sentry shield come up.
Still 0-0. We're almost 10 minutes in this game. Much different from our one last game.
Yeah, Todd Squad's doing a good job of turtling, and I think they're even conceding the fact that if the sentry goes, that just means longer death timers, and as long as both teams are even in, neither team's given up a kill in the early game, and they can keep up in levels, they can do all right. Boulder's diving straight past the front line, right at the Oscar mic. Takes about half his health and poke, but he's getting in a good position, creating some space. Ooh,
oh no!
But Todd Squad groups up. And Miko pays for it. Kelvin gets hooked back in, no sub. He'll die to the Galt. And Boulder does make it out alright, though. Thorn desperately trying to poke down these big health bars, but... I mean, what is she going to do? She's the only poke, really.
It just lacks sustain. They have burst, but they lack sustain, which is why they have to turtle.
And they lack range, too. They have no range. And really, realistically, Kelvin and Boulder are... giving 0 damage to the wave besides, the occasional chomps that he's allowed, which aren't a lot. So it'll be interesting to see if Todd Squad can continue to weather this, because Sentry Shield is coming up right now, but we'll see. Oscar might come through garage. I believe he got some damage on it. Yep, did stop it from coming up.
Hey, look, a copy of it, copy of it, copy.
Randy trying to zone window while Atticus is out of lane at single throw. See, Team Logitech across the board, level 4.
Yeah.
Monty stunned. Monty stunned again by the Boulder. Boulder's chunked, but they could sustain this. Nice burst propulsions by Steve-O to survive that. Atticus almost got the pick on him. I think if Atticus had initially gone on him, but I guess his goal was just to get the Miko off of the Thorn. Atticus doesn't really need to go on the kill target. Atticus just goes on whoever the front line is so that, or the back line, in this case, go on Miko. If Atticus is on Miko, then the Boulder and the Kelvin are that much easier to kill for his shooters. But still see very low kill game right now, and it's already 11 minutes in, so Todd Squad weathering much better than last game.
Kelvin's 4. Randy's 4.
Kelvin does have 28 minions. That is a good point to bring up. Mozzie. Kelvin's getting very fed. As far as max health goes. Fed because he eats minions. Randy trying to harass from the side. I guess just going out to take out the kid drones.
Keeping the sentry poke up. Honestly, I think their team's playing super safe when they should be looking for more picks. That's what we're
The hook on Kelvin. Yeah, they do need to be pushing the envelope, like taking this sentry a bit quicker. I think they are playing a bit passive.
Yeah, maybe it works out for them though.
Well, they're, as we say that, Floater and Manly from window and garage respectively take out the sentry. So, see Galt immediately pushing up, trying to look for a hook. Thumper's back up though, so he can't immediately.
In the game right now. Do
Probably got
death timers instead of they can keep a hold on this choke. We're all coming in.
Thrall knocks up one minion and the Shepherd. Monty does get stunned off the Thrall knockup. Not taking much damage though. There you go. Now he starts to. A great Kelvin sub follow up this time, but unfortunately, I don't know if they had the levels yet to do it. And great Atticus ult here. Got the initial kill. Uses the full stacked ult. Gets the easy follow up kills.
Yep. He was gonna port to get full health.
That's the value of Atticus getting the first kill in a team fight as well. Being able to use another skill with full stacks. What did he take at 5? Did he take cooldown or the health regen? I'm assuming cooldown since they're snowballing.
He has health regen.
Really? Even with the Kid Ultra, with like 0 threat to the drones. Interesting. I guess because he's been on Thrall duty and he doesn't want to be stuck in one spot depending on the Kid Ultra drones. Really, in a match like this where he can get picks and snowball, I would rather him see the cooldown. If he gets the Miko pick at the start of a fight, Atticus can roll.
Oh yeah, that's super bad. Yeah.
See Kelvin gets subbed in real deep. Atticus pounces on the Kelvin. Nice two-man sub on Monty.
Yeah.
I think that was just so he didn't get the sub canceled, but I don't know if it would have made a difference, to be honest. He just was in a rough spot there.
They're in a better spot than we were last game, at least, you know, weather it. You know, lull them to sleep again, let them get comfy and choke, let the mission just push up, just keep them off the pressure.
We see a point of sentry already taken though, and that I guess the initial push. I actually completely missed that because the shield's almost full again.
He's also 5. They have both their bursts online.
Let's see if Todd squad can make a play here. Sentry shield's already at half again.
Yeah.
Oh, and hooking on Thorn. Stuns Kelvin and Boulder with the Monty. Boulder's hurt.
There comes another stun here once we start to get out of that one. Ultimate. Pulled her right out of it. The heartbreaker.
Pulled her out of the ult, yeah. I believe Kelvin doesn't have sub. He chomps to try to get some shields.
Oh, that's
does to it though.
There.
Oscar had to cloak out. He's probably just going to come right back in there. Yep, stays right in base. Already on the sentry. Clean as can be. Atticus going in on the Miko. Hadronic arcs with the stacks and then ults. Good Hadronic eruption just for zoning the Miko off. He's got to get out of there. He just dies.
Further by the ultimate. Had to do something here.
Boulder makes a stun
Dodger's
on
done at
Monty,
least.
but Monty gets the nice value knock up on 2. Merendi trying to push out for the pick. Ooh, another ult that does no damage for Merendi. We saw one last game. It hurts to see it because those have to hit. That would have been a really impactful pick. Instead, Kelvin goes. The fight lasts a little bit too long, and I believe that's Kid Ultra's second ult of the fight. So, all looking for a hook. Hooks are Rendy. She does have Nullify though. Might see a multi-stun from Monty here. Todd Squad's grouping up a lot for the double AoE CC from Monty Atticus. We've played it, I believe, in a match before, and Monty Atticus, just if the enemy team is grouped at all against it, they can make you pay real well. And with the Gald hook, like, he forces people to try to collapse, to try to, you know, help whoever's getting hooked, whoever's the focus. And they just have to force themselves to stay spread out, keep good spacing. It's just really hard because they're being held in.
Yeah.
Look at this formation from Todd Squad. Atticus goes for it.
Over.
Kelvin's gonna sub the Atticus. Kid comes in to ult the Atticus. Celebratory Atticus ult on the Miko. Miko had the box breaking Miko ult. Or taunt. You see the box after the game. But yeah, was a bit odd that Kelvin Wall didn't stun Monty. Just kind of lifted him up. I don't know if it was during the Monty ult animation and so it made his hitbox wonky or something. We'll see Dr. Ho-Ho potentially being swapped out for Reaper's kids potentially, or bringing Modsy back in potentially. We'll have to wait and see. And here's the tail of the tape. Interestingly, we see like pretty much the exact same builds across the board. I can't recall directly, but one piece I'd recommend for Kelvin is potentially having cooldown with cooldown after melee. Just being able to have sub up more often in fights. Still didn't make it to level 6 there for Kelvin. That's rough because if they just weathered a little bit longer. But
yeah, they lost 2 big team fights that crushed them.
They weren't able to get a single pick in the early game, and with Thorn or Rendy, like with Kelvin Boulder, like even against a Galt comp, like you have to be ready to, as soon as the Galt hook goes down, like bait out the Galt hook in whatever way necessary, and you have to make a play off that. Because if you're not being proactive, then you're being reactive, and against Atticus, Monty, like you can't react well enough with Boulder Kelvin. They're not peel-oriented tanks. They're playmaking-oriented tanks. Which is the nice thing about Monty, because he can be both. But
yeah, I think in hindsight they should have been overly aggressive in the game and gone for more early picks, just executed it better.
Yeah, I guess that's what I'm suggesting, is that just trying to be more aggressive in the early game and accentuating the fact that they have better sustain in the early game as well. Because, yeah, there's a lot of poke, but if Kelvin's just staying out of sight, making subs completely aggressively onto the Galt, essentially making the Galt a non-factor, that's probably would have given them better chances of success. But we'll have to see what they think. Because I know they did a lot of mock drafts and prepared for this. So surely they're down, but they're not out. They can still get a point off this match and, keep their heads up and, stay in top seeding for the playoffs and stay in contention for that.
Yeah, Chaotic. I'm just gonna try that game one. Yeah, I like their flip strategy, Chaotic, but Hoop just make an interesting point watching it from the top down. Like when you think about it from a subjective standpoint, having the team that they have, they do really only have one true stun. I think this is just the silence. So if you bait the Monty stun, in theory you should win the team fight with 2 stuns, but in theory we see it doesn't always make it into the game. Fatal's looking for a series recap if you want to give him one.
Series recap. Well, I can't bring up the team comps, but they were the same for both games. So if you saw any of that last game, then yeah, same comps. And we saw Floyder getting his Galt both games. Manley was on Oscar. Dr. Spaghetti got Kelvin. So like we saw the Kelvin for Monty Galt trade, and then both times, Kelvin has a Miko and a Boulder, but there was just so much pressure from Team Logitech, so much poking that even with Thorn or Endy for Todd squad, they just couldn't outmatch the damage in the early game, and so it snowballed ahead in both games. So first game, the Sentry went down a lot faster because Todd squad was trying to be more aggressive. And then in the second game, they turtled, really well. Just kind of tried to weather the early game and get to Kelvin level 6 or Indy level 6, and make plays. But both games they couldn't weather long enough. So. But we'll see if they can make some adjustments and potentially pull out, at least 1 point out of the series. It'd mean a lot for playoff contentions. Thanks, Fatal. No problem. So we see Team Logitech on Team 1 yet again. Or not yet again. I'm trolling. They've been Team 2 both games. So they're definitely still going to be banning Phoebe Gal. They just want Sea-Dog off of his comfort picks. They've liked seeing him on the Boulder. Even though I think his Boulder's been fine. It's just, I said it in the first game, like, he's so exceptional at Phoebe Gal that putting him on anything else, hurts how much he brings to the team. Even though he is great at a lot of other picks. I am hoping to see the draft vary, quite a bit this game. I think pulling out something, some kind of pocket pick or something potentially from Todd squad, trying to catch them off guard. We saw them get Team Logitech, that is, get caught off guard in game 2 of their last series against Penny Traders. So we know they're not infallible, though I doubt they're going to be taking Todd squad lightly whatsoever. They know that they can easily take a game off them if they get complacent. The Monty first pick makes sense. Galt's off the board.
Yeah.
Pendle's incoming for the win from Chaotic. I don't know that we'll see a Pendles, but I'd like to see it. But
let's see if they go 2 more tanks.
we see the Miko being left up for the first time, going to Team Logitech with the Monty and the Wrath. Pretty good, solid comp going on. They can fill it with any range DPS and they'll be solid. They could even do just another range DPS and a diver if they'd like. leaves them very open, but it's a powerful 3 squad, and it's a lot of comfort picks for them. That being said, Atticus switches sides for the first time in the series. This time we'll probably be seeing it. Yeah, I mean, Atticus's pick rate right now is through the roof in comparison to all, the past 4 seasons. But I think his win rate's pretty good right now as well. He hasn't lost a whole lot of games. Thanks, Kovajon. I'm probably not saying that correctly.
On your ref, that's a win. Yeah, you got. See if the cool kid on the block can help pull him out a win.
The Sea Dog on Atticus this time. See if he can do a bit more. Potentially add a 3rd must ban against him to the list. Oh, it's Soph. Oh, hello, Soph. Thanks.
Yeah, doing some recruiting in the chat.
Yeah, I'd be down.
Manly doesn't play the marquee. That Benny up
Welch
there.
is on marquee?
Yep.
I mean, Manly is a healer main, despite what everyone may think. And Welch is well known for his marquee. He's very good. So hopefully he shows out.
Yes, man. I don't care what anybody says.
You can make the argument that he's as good at DPS or better at DPS than his healing. But historically, I understand him to be always a support main in games. I mean, Reyna is one of his favorite characters. Alani's his most played character. So he's just very accurate. So that makes him a good DPS player. Spectating Oscar Mike right now. Ozzy's just staring at the ground. Not doing anything. No taunts. No kunai throws. All business. Ho-Ho's trying to break the door open as Wrath. Alrighty. So I think it'll probably be Team Logitech taking mid at the beginning because they do have the Miko. They have the 2 wins ahead behind them. But
Atticus doesn't take the 15% lifesteal on Hydronic Arc. He takes the pounce damage at the beginning of leap.
I always take that. It silences. In the mid to late game, it's disgusting. And also, the 15% does absolutely nothing. Like the Hadronic Arc over a 30-minute game, Hadronic Arc does like 5k. No, the lifesteal literally is negligible as hell. I mean, so is the other one, but the other one is less negligible because at least it brings you a little bit more utility. It also makes your pounce slow from its origin as well. Like it gives all of the applications of
extra augment properties.
Yeah. So you get the slow, you get the silence, just from the base pounce, and then you also get the wound if you arc and Hadronic arc and then jump pounce words. It might only be if you have full stacks that it does it. I can't actually recall directly whether or not Hadronic Arc does. I feel like it does regardless, but not 100% on that. Yeah, Memphis. At the end of your match, one of the stats I believe for Atticus is Hadronic Arc damage, and it's usually like 5 to 10k, like in a 30-minute match. It's real bad. He received like what, 1,500 health throughout an entire match. Basically nothing. Ooh.
Jeez.
That confirms Monty does have Shockwave. Benny lands a Hawkeye on Alani. She heals up easily. No big deal. Will be a little bit harder for Todd Squad to make engagements, given that they have only one single target hard CC, and then Alani's can. Well, I mean Alani's Geyser's definitely AOE, but don't get me wrong, but it's very hit or miss. It's definitely not reliable. So, whereas they have the Monty stun that's AoE, they have the Monty knockup that's AoE in the mid to late game.
Nice
Monty will get
there.
picked here though. Good pick there. Boulder stun into Geyser. Very clean. That's what they need here. See if they can do anything else with it.
I'm almost dead though.
Oof.
Oh, almost in quick for that kill.
Boulder and Atticus just got too far away. But Thorn and Boulder get the trade pick on the Alani and on the Miko rather. And then Atticus gets the kill on Wrath in a team effort. Todd Squad's Thrall should get a knockoff first. It does not. I guess, oh no, there's no small minions behind. Does eventually get its knockoff though, it doesn't amount to much. Thorn gets chunked out, but so does the Benedict. Benedict's getting topped up by Miko. Atticus forced to pounce out. Just better safe than sorry kind of situation there, trying to get out quicker. And Todd Squad will concede mid, having taken a few picks. They're leading in kills 3-2 now. Levels, we have level 2 across the board. Just as Thorn and Boulder just hit level 3 now. Thorn and Boulder, first 2 to level 3 on that team. It's interesting. Beating out the Oscar and the Atticus. Atticus less surprising than the Oscar. I guess focusing on poking down Battleborn. Hawkeye goes out, misses. Murky gets some poke on Thorn, doesn't amount to much. Atticus pounces in. I guess just to get to the front line quicker. Not a huge fan of that use of pounce. And I believe Boulder also dashed the Monty, so a lot of cooldowns out right now. We'll just see a bit of range trading and otherwise not much. And he landed a couple rockets on Mike. Backs out easy. So as the game progresses, which comp do you think wins team fights though? Because from what we've seen, Todd Squad, as long as they're executing, they can get that initial pick, they can snowball off the fight. Problem is that, you know, if Boulder doesn't hit that single target stun, they're out. You know, there's hard CC, barring a really nice Geyser. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. It's definitely going to come down to execution here. There's no clear winner.
Yeah, more so depends on can you bait out the Wrath silence.
Fair enough.
Needs to be zero princesses in late game P fights against the Wrath. His silence has to be effectively useless.
Monty narrowly dodges that Geyser. See level 3s across the board now. Everyone's keeping up in levels like extremely well. Like closer than you would expect to see, to be honest, with the, you know, spread of characters we have here. The Atticus and Boulder trying to create some space here. Atticus gets knocked up. Wrath doesn't have the silence yet though, so he can't really win that fight. Atticus pounces back in the lane, narrowly avoids getting stunned by Monty, but Monty will go here for sure. Traded for Atticus though. Good DPS there by the Marquis and Benedict. Wrath knocks up just for Peel. Benny lands a Hawkeye on Thorn. She gets chunked, but the last rocket won't hit. Wouldn't have killed anyways, but it would have brought it down to one shot.
Oh, Spaghetti, I go for a greedy. And there.
Not too much cost though. Yeah, could have been a real good reward though to get another decent spawn timer. Keep the push up.
You know, he does go for an ambitious one. Tries to predict his movement, motioning back in the bunker.
One thing I like to point out, Logitech does a really good job of like they could clear that wave like instantly with any one of their DPSs, but they're making sure that everybody's getting touches. I think there's a lot of value in that, but you know, it's not even something they're probably calling out. It's just, you know, an understanding they have. Don't melt the wave when you don't need to. Melt it when you should. Ooh, excuse me. So we see Logitech getting a thrall right now.
Holding lane down one.
Oscar Mike, I believe. Or I mean, Marquis, rather. Oh, Oscar.
Incoming man-child.
They'll probably look to make a push in front of it, knowing that the Atticus isn't in lane. Boulder gets stunned. Good geyser and...
Nice geyser in the heel.
Yeah.
That's just...
Boulder still takes a lot, though.
Understated. Yeah, one thing that can be understood these days is a lot of lines have to understand that unless you're ready prepared to give somebody 3 stacks and a bubble, you're not going to save them.
Yeah,
just the
in that
guys
kind
just
of
really not
situation,
cut it these days. Yeah, a lot of people are understanding the threshold for that.
Atticus gets stunned. He's got a lot of health, but he's getting burned down quick. And Alani cannot sustain that.
Yeah, he didn't get any of that geyser though. He tried to get it in lane before thinking around engaging.
They do have a big wave, but I think being closer to your wave before you make the play, like let the wave get further up before you make the play to try to protect the wave. Because the idea was right. You want to make the play in front of the single thrall elite bot. That way the single thrall elite bot can't get focused and it's just paying dividends. Guarantees its knock up, guarantees, you know, there's not as much damage to go on to that. But I think they got a little impatient there and they paid for it. Team Logitech spreading out for the siege now. Benedict in garage. Hawkeye the Shepherd. Trying to get down quicker, I guess. Or maybe he was aiming for a Battleborn. Slightly missed. That was the more likely of the two.
It's about to get real
constant pain here.
Yeah, potentially Marquis or Benny asking for the pings on the squishy targets of Todd squad makes playing as Marquis shooting through a Monty a lot easier to hit the enemy Battleborn when you can have them highlighted for you. That's what I have to assume it is, but no guarantee. It might even be that glitch that used to happen. I don't know if that still happens in commentator mode. There's just like constant ping noise even though there's no one pinging.
Force point of sentry damage. 10 minutes. Almost 11 minutes in.
Wrath gets a crossblade on it, gets a couple more damage. But Logitech does cede a little bit of space.
You have a throw off coming with
Atticus is 5. They could have potentially seen that Atticus level 5 with the Thrall elite bot wave. Gave up some space.
Nice stunning on Wrath.
Monty cancels the Atticus ult immediately to peel for the Wrath. Very well played. Atticus pounces in. Doesn't have stacks though. Doesn't even have Hadronic Arc up, I don't believe. Miko does go though.
There you go.
Good finish. Boulder stuns the Wrath now. But Monty with the good peel keeps him up.
And
he's diving for the Alani. I hear Bindle Blast. Nice block by the Boulder. Or the minions potentially, I'm not sure. Narrowly avoided that. The Alani did. Monty gets a nice stun on Boulder. Boulder takes a lot of damage. Gets knocked up by Wrath. Will go through it. Unnecessary Benny ult, but he just wanted to make sure. Nothing wrong with that. It happens occasionally. Thumper is up currently. Todd squad is hardcore backed up. All that's left is their backline in lane. Atticus is getting a throw. Given the appropriate amount of space. Keeping Logitech poked out though. Benny is low. Wrath is 3/4. Miko is topping up the Benny now though, so we'll be alright. Back on the Monty. First he'll top up the Wrath though. Monty doing a great job of giving space when needed, but knowing when to put the pressure on. Depending on his Miko to be there when it's necessary. The Todd squad with a push here with this throw.
Oh, they got Miko.
Atticus pounces in, gets the ult, but he's ulting without stacks and without Hadronic Arc up. You definitely see he's a bit uncomfortable on the pick. And being impatient, really. Like, I mean, the play's right. It's just you got to be more patient for, you know, I do it, we all do it. You got to wait for the CCs to be down as Atticus, or you're just going to get canceled, and it's just no fun for anybody involved. Well, except for the team that's canceling your heals. Feels real good for them.
You're up mid now, though. They only suffer 3 points of sentry damage.
Yeah? Yeah, it looks fine for them. We're only 14 minutes into the game. Atticus is level 5, probably nearly 6 at this point. Also have... Actually, 5's up across the board except for Boulder and Miko. Their team fights will look very interesting.
Exactly where I'm putting this rocket.
Oof, Atticus nearly bounces out. Ooh. Atticus gets out alive. But we see all of Todd squad getting chunked out even as the Atticus gets out narrowly. Nico does hit 5 with this push.
Cheeky Hawkeye on Thorn here. Ooh.
Gets zoned off from the last rocket. I think that dash honestly canceled his last rocket that would have killed Thorn. Maybe it would have been close. Thorn might have had like about 50 health left. Thumper is up. Logitech pushing in to take it down. Can't tell if the Monty's shooting at the Oscar or if the Oscar's shooting at him. Like trace the bullets. Boulder gets a nice stun on Monty. Good guys who follow up. Atticus with the pounce. Nice pick there. Atticus ulting. Did not get the kill on the Monty though, so won't have stacks. Not a huge fan of that ult. I mean, no, you're not going to get canceled, but you're also not hitting anyone and you don't have full stacks. Or Hadronic Arc up. Did Atticus take cooldown or health regen? I'm assuming he took health regen this match.
I'll check here.
It is a different player playing Atticus, obviously. Different team.
He has health regen.
Yeah, he did take health regen. Health regen is the more common option.
Yeah, and he has pounce resets cooldown, so he took their cooldown for that.
I pretty much always take that. There's really no reason to not. Yeah, both of them are pretty bad.
I mean, you rarely ever get the kill pounce though. I mean, it may happen once, maybe twice a game.
Yeah, I mean, I think the
initiating
better
or
option
leaving
is the
with
shield
pounce.
recharge. Shield, extra shield damage on Hadronic Arc. But it's just
I mean,
that Hadronic
I think
Arc
it pairs
does
better than level
so.
1.
Oh, it's great,
Yeah,
but
I think it
Hadronic
pairs
Arc
better
does
with
like
the level.
no damage.
It does.
It does like
I mean,
no.
some healing is better than 0 healing.
About to get messy.
But like I said, I
You
guess
know,
it's
no. I mean, like
it
legit,
doesn't
like
affect-
15%
it doesn't affect the
of
overall play of the character.
15% of like 100 damage over the course of one cast of it.
Oh, he got lucky that Benny went right into the dirt.
Yeah, that was
Yeah, he didn't get in.
a real close swing there.
He's still not out of it yet. They're still chunking.
Did see Todd squad get some significant sentry damage on that push. Can't go understated. Despite they did have to give up a thorn pick for it though. Maybe just got a little bit too antsy. Got too excited that they were getting that amount of damage. Overextended for it, and they're getting punished super hard for it. You see, Logitech is clean. They'll get the, they will punish if you let them. Lonnie gets double knocked up by the Wrath and then the single thrall. Benny lands the Hawkeye on Oscar, and he does not have stealth right now. Stealth generator. Just trying to run back and forth for the sentry block.
Dibs.
Yeah, he cannot get out. Atticus just desperately trying to clear the elite bot.
Atticus not the promised land.
Atticus does have full stacks though, which could be really good if he arc pounces on the Monty and lands on the Miko as well and can kill the Miko or force the Miko out of the fight. I think it can be a really good start.
Like you think about jumping down for it, look at him, check him out.
Benedict has second century Hawkeye, is getting damage. Yep, that's points of damage. I believe Monty's hitting it too as well.
Manly already have him sees him. 2 are going to meet him.
T-Dog trying to make a play here. He might just pounce out. Hopefully he doesn't fail this pounce. That's a close one. It's actually harder to hit than it looks. Oh well, not harder to hit. Easy, very easy to mess up. Like, if you hit that hitbox wrong, you're gonna get juggled out. It does not feel good. I think I actually had that happen in our match when we lost. When I was Atticus.
He's just trying to keep whatever pressure you can up front. And a nice box
Then it gets a Hawkeye on Alani. Yeah, clears the wave, slows them down a bit.
Just moving back in. That's Wrath. That's Wrath Nagabot. They're gonna go. They should look for it.
Atticus running in, trying to make space. Might get punished. Narrowly pounces out. I think that Bindle Blast hit him as the pounce went. He just died at the inside of it. I'm not sure. That was weird. Oof. Boulder gets the counter pick on the Wrath though. See if Boulder can make a play. Come on, Boulder. 1v4.
Boulder.
1v4, Boulder. That Wrath has a really long death timer though. Wrath is gonna be down for like 25 seconds when they're all or
doesn't matter.
20 seconds when they're all
right here.
Yeah, the game's probably gonna end here to be honest. Atticus ulting with no stacks. Just chasing after the Marquis. Marquis does die though.
It kills the 13. Much more even kill spread though.
Yeah, I mean I think that was the closest game yet. I think if they had when they got their CC chain off, it was a clean and easy kill. The problem is that they tried to continue off of that when they had no skills left up after, and they got punished every time. All right. So real quick, we'll go through the stats from the first, well, all 3 games, I guess. Make sure anybody who missed them can see the stats at least, and give a brief synopsis. Game 1 only lasted 13 minutes and 30 seconds. I believe that Team Logitech got damage on the second sentry at about 6 minutes in. But there was a couple pushbacks, potential plays made that could have turned the tide, but oftentimes it was just Atticus or Monty getting picked, and it was in a trade for 1 or 2.
Look at all that sportsman, baby.
Yep. I mean, this is why I voted to ban this stuff. It makes characters, when you have a reliable healer and you can trust each other, like having this much max health in your builds pays dividends. It takes that much more to, kill you. That's, even just on the Oscar Mike, that's an extra like 2 arrows from Thorn, fully charged arrows, or like an arrow, like a headshot arrow, and then like, a body shot. Like, I don't know. I mean, that's just max health pays off. Like, just being able to survive that much more burst. Let me go all the way through for the sake of the stat keepers. Thank you. I think shout out to Kamikaze, I believe, is doing the stats this season. We very much appreciate it. And anybody else who's helping him. I don't know if Floater's still assisting or how that goes or what, but just pan through them very quickly. Rendy with the most damage on her team. Oscar with the most on his. Monty actually had pretty much the exact same amount of damage as the Rendy. Granted, as we'll see in a moment here, I believe, 22,000 of that was on the sentry, so you can forgive Rendy a little bit because she had 0 sentry damage. And yeah, that is one thing, to be noted. No sentry damage from Todd squad. So even when they did get some picks, like I said, they were often trading 2 for 1 and, on the losing side of that. And just never really got Kelvin to the point where he was worth it, worth first picking. The comp sounds solid on paper, but just in practice against a Galt, Monty, and Oscar that are executing, firing all cylinders, and then an Atticus who can follow up and create more disjointedness in the fights. It makes a huge difference. Hopefully I have the stats for all the games. It looks like the third one still hasn't come up. Second game, a lot of the same thing from the first one, except that we saw Todd squad play an entirely different mentality. They came out and turtled. They did a really good job of weathering the early game. Game time, all said and done, was only 4 minutes longer. But the early game felt a lot better. They didn't give up as many kills. They weathered the storm. They stayed equal in levels throughout the entire game until their first sentry went down, and then it just snowballed ahead. Atticus hit level 5 and then level 6 quickly, one after the other. And
yeah, they lost 2 big team fights. They lost a big one when their first sentry went down. They tried to make a short play there. I think they lost 3 people. 3 people. They pushed right to the second sentry.
I think the biggest takeaway I had from that one, and I mean, obviously, I would have more notes if I went back and watched it, but I'd say I saw a lot of grouping when they didn't need to be grouped. Like, Arendi and Thorn should constantly be, like, very spread out. The Miko has to be super aware. I mean, Tom's a really good Miko, so obviously, like, and, Logitech just abused it as well as you could, but just getting caught a little bit too close to the tanks. So when Atticus does pounce in, he's getting you and the tanks, so you can't immediately stun him with your Spore Bomb. Or the tank can't immediately peel for you, because they're silenced as well. And also, just getting AoE'd by the Kelvin, by the Atticus and the Monty, one after the other in either order, that hurt them a lot. And so just being spread out a little bit more in team fights would have helped. But otherwise, I think they played the second game really well. They just needed to weather a little bit better. And Logitech is really well known for their ability to poke sentries, take every little bit during a sentry siege, and that game exemplified it really well. They were in a really long siege throughout the entire game, pretty much. Just one whole game long siege. Because none of them ever died either. They constantly were trading aggro. Montana actually had the most sentry damage, followed by Galt, and then the Oscar Mike in the second game. So a lot of really good pushes through lane. Atticus building up good waves and then going in front of them. Just allowing Monty and Galt to walk into lane off a pick and just destroy sentry. Everybody else is already chunked out as well. And, oh bollocks, I don't have the third game on my... There it is, never mind. I refreshed it. We're good. Alright, here's the third game stats. Just watched the third game, so not much recap is needed, but saw the draft was not the exact same this game, so worth noting. They switched sides. Todd squad banned the Kelvin this game, and namely because they were on team 2 and the Galt had I believe they banned the Galt as well. They banned Kelvin. And it went pretty well. They stayed even in levels the entire game. They traded in team fights pretty well, but it was just really good execution from Logitech, and I mean, more hard CC, AoE hard CC from Wrath and Monty makes a huge difference. So I think in that one they kind of got outdrafted a little bit. Like, I think the other 2 drafts were definitely winnable. It was just really hard to execute. From either side, to be honest, though, Logitech, I mean, that comp with, any Galt comp is never easy to execute. But all in all, 3 good games. Third game was definitely the closest in kills. But, I mean, for a long span of the second one, rather, it was back and forth. No picks, no kills from Todd squad, but they traded well. What are your closing thoughts on the series, C3?
I think they're going to be mulling over the footage and be more ready for them next time. Player skill is there, but it really just shows one team has been playing with each other a lot longer than the other.
Do you still believe, and honestly, I don't know what the original, actual preseason seeding was, but in my mind, I saw the Team Logitech in the preseason as the first seed in my power rankings, and then Todd Squad close behind them. Do you think Todd Squad is definitely still should be seen as someone who's way out ahead of the pack, just behind Logitech, or is that gap not closed as much as we would hope it might be?
Tough to say based off just a few matches happening this season, just because on any given day, any given team can show up and do something crazy and win some games, like we see. And last week, take a game off of this team, and this team, obviously, supposed to be a stronger team, lose pretty handily 3 games in a row. So, tough to say, only seeing them play once, which you only get to really ever see every team play one time. But, yeah, I think they're closer to them on a general play-by-play basis. I think out of 100 matches they play, I think they win more than anybody else.
All right. I could agree with that. I have a lot of respect for Todd Squad. It's a lot of my friends on the team, and they're definitely a really solid squad, one to look out for. But, they got bested today. They're going to, like you said, go over the footage and see what they can improve on. Maybe rethink some draft strats. Maybe get Sea-Dog in the weight room training for a new character. Maybe pull out a new pocket pick that no one knows about. Because I think he played really well all 3 games. He did what he could. A lot of the plays were made off of him creating the space. But that being said, him being able to have his 2 main picks banned out, while it can be seen as a good thing, is also, a double-edged sword because it's putting him on something significantly weaker. Because he's so good at other characters, he just doesn't put as much time in. I don't think. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know if he still puts in time on Phoebe or Gal, but nonetheless, they'll figure it out. Todd Squad's a good group of guys. I think they'll come back swinging. I don't know who they play next week, but I'd imagine they'll look for the 3-0 and potentially get it. So I think big conclusion we could take from this week so far is that there's a lot of parity this year in the league, this season in the league, I guess I should say. Like you said, on any given day, any team can take a win off anybody, so only time will tell who comes out on top and what the rest of the playoffs will look like. Because it's definitely getting mixed up a lot with Todd Squad getting 3-0'd. I believe that is everything, and there's not much else to say. So thanks for joining us, and that was Team Logitech 3-0ing Todd Squad. Week 3 match. Have a good night. Oh, and it was Mini Cooper and C3 casting, for those who aren't aware, I guess. Lol. Signing off.